Hello and welcome back to ThoughtBot's AI and Focused, the best live streaming on YouTube from featuring ThoughtBot developers.
That's so true.
Thank you for covering for me, Lewis, while I was out last week.
Yeah, you're welcome. We had a lot of fun. I thought it was really productive. I don't know if you've had a chance to see some of the outputs of that, but I'm really excited about where we're going to go when we're ready to start using those designs. I think it's going to really, guide us well.
Yeah. So today we're going to get started with just a quick overview of progress since last time we coded on the stream, where things are at with ReadySetGo today. And then we will jump into bringing a lot of the functionality that we have created previously on the stream. And Lewis, you're going to want to share your screen. Previously on the stream to which was the CLI version of ReadySetGo into the Rails-based web version. So for those of you who haven't been tuned in to previous episodes, what is ReadySetGo? ReadySetGo is a Rails AI-powered application generator. So it's used for rapidly creating entire Rails applications from scratch based on ThoughtBot's best practices. So not only our open source libraries like Suspenders, the Rails application template, but also test-driven development, production best practices. And the goal is to be able to rapidly create something new that we feel confident we could then take from that initial build where the AI generator uses it and continue to work on it and bring that application to production. And that's the problem we see with a lot of existing application generators online, is that the quality of the code, the security that they are built with is just not, the gap from there to being able to put that in production is huge. And so we're trying to minimize that gap with ReadySetGo.
Yeah, and I like to think of it, or in my mind, it's like super Suspenders, right? Suspenders takes us further than Rails knew with all the work that we like is repetitive and we don't want to do over and over again because it's the same work. And this is the next level of that. It is, let's create that foundation with AI assistance, but that's still right, just like you said, like follows our best practices, code we're proud of, and is ready to be moved forward.
Cool. So I'm going to add your screen to the stage. You're probably going to want to zoom in a little bit there.
Yep.
And we are monitoring the chat. So if you've got any questions, suggestions along the way, if we get stumped with something, feel free to help us. Although, we never get stumped.
Not fully. Not for the full hour anyway.
Feel free to drop those in the comments and we'll see them.
Cool.
Cool.
All right. So
where are we since last time?
Yeah. So I believe 2 weeks ago, the last thing where we ended on was we generated a Rails app and it had nothing there. And we've at last week's episode, we did a design sprint so we could focus on how are we going to build out that UI? What do we need to have in mind as we're building it out? And so then coding wise, since last week, here's what we've done. So I'm not going to go through each one of these commits, but some key ones. The first one is we're going to require authenticated users to use ReadySetGo. So we're introducing the idea of users and passwords and all. A few cleanup things here, some dependabot items. Then this next one is inspired by this article here about Teams being an MVP feature. This is a fantastic article. I strongly recommend everyone read it. It was first introduced to me by Sean Doyle, and it has influenced me heavily in all the things I build. The quick summary here is, if you start off with an assumption like we might have here, well, I'm a user, what am I going to do? I'm going to create an app. The app belongs to me. Now we've set ourselves up, and let's say we build on that and it's going and working. Now it's 6 months from now, and we realize, wait, other people need to see that it's not just me. It's the other people on my team. You're like, cool, okay, maybe they belong to a group, and then you're like, well, it might also be the client that we're working with. It might be members on their team, and suddenly all these associations, where you had user, has many apps, you've got to move everything in all those relations. So rather than get in that trouble, we've created a structure here where we have organizations. So this would typically be like Thoughtbot or, insert company name here. Under that, we have teams. A team could be a restrictive thing. Like if you're on the development team, you only see your development team things, or it could just be an organizational tool. Like here's the development, here are the development apps that we're building. Here are the design focus projects, et cetera, et cetera. So organizations have many teams. Teams then have many projects, and projects have many apps. So with that foundational data structure, we're ready to get into, now we can create an app that belongs to a project, that's part of a team, that's represented by an organization.
I just want to emphasize that point a little bit more. And I think this is one of the things that, is an advantage of experience. Like the work required to rework to add these models to the top of your hierarchy after the fact is high. But if you can do the foundational stuff in the beginning before you've got all the rest of the models, even if your application then doesn't expose them or use them in a way that's visible to users, it's a good way to save yourself that headache later on, because then you can introduce them without having to completely remodel everything. And this gets a little bit meta here, but this is the kind of thing we're also trying to do with ReadySetGo. Like this is what we're talking about now is ReadySetGo itself. And it has teams and projects and organizations and all that stuff. When we think about the applications that ReadySetGo is going to create for people, we also want to say, what are the best practices of building an application? And this is one of them. Unless you're like 110% confident that you will never need teams in your application, it's usually a good idea to start with them from scratch.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, it's like the one thing that violates or like goes against the principle of like don't build the thing until you need it.
Right.
This is when it is so expensive to build it when you need it, and it's so easy to build initially.
Right.
So,
and again, even if you don't even expose it to the UI, just create the structure and then give every user a default team and a default organization. And they're there for when you are going to expand and expose it later.
cool. Well, with that in mind, let's take a look at our Rails app. Also did
Yep.
some styling to make it look reasonable. So here we are, ready, set, go. We have our logo and everything. Chats and models. These are, again, the UI elements that were built by the Ruby LLM generators that we used last time, just styled a little bit so that they're cleaner. And here we've also scoped down the number of models we're using because we didn't need all 1200-ish. And chats is a way, again, this is like, this is a Ruby LLM set of controllers and views that's just like have an open-ended chat with the LLM, but it doesn't do anything. It's not hooked into Ready, Set, Go. So we're probably going to be leveraging some of what is auto-created here in now our controller. So we have projects. So cool, we have a team, and we just called it my team for right now. And my team has a Penguin project. So we'll click into that, and we have an idea for an app that's going to sort penguins. And if we go into it, that's all we've got. So the idea would be here might be like, okay, so as we're working with penguins, we might have different apps like along this line. We might want to try different prototypes. Like maybe this is penguin sorter, idea one from a design sprint. And then we have another one that's a second idea, and we want to like A/B test that with users. So this is where we would have multiple apps for the same project. And that's where we are. Time for us to move forward.
Okay. So if we click into that penguin sorter, now what is the relationship between application and chats? Is there just one chat per application?
I just added that this morning on this branch. So if we want to take a quick look at what that commit looks like, my theory was I at first I was like has one, and then I was like, what if we want to keep those chats separate? What if we want the introductory chat where we first built it and have that end, just for us organizationally, and now we want to start a second chat, which is okay. Let's develop this feature. Maybe we want a chat for every feature. I didn't want to limit it to one chat because otherwise you get a giant thread, very hard to organize. So I'm like, let's do app has many chats.
Okay. And then, so if you go to chat.rb in this.
Oh yeah, I think that didn't get done yet. So yeah,
okay.
So this we're gonna need
we want to write the spec first.
Oh yes, let's do that. And
you just had your review tool denied there.
Indeed I did. Chat, I'm gonna go ahead and cloud code this because I find it's just so fast. So let's do that. So let's actually resume the last conversation. Hang on, I need to go up a level. So for the sake of, because we have /Rails, I have the project opened twice at the top and down here. Okay, so here's the one we were doing that. All right, so let's do that. Let's add test coverage for the missing chat app association. Cool.
And it shouldn't be optional. I see that it was suggesting that it'd be optional.
And so while it's doing that, this is where I find the big gains is let it do work. Look at what's changing at the same time and be thinking about what's our next step. So this seems reasonable. It makes sense that this is the first time we're adding this because before the chat model was the Ruby LLM one, and all it had was access chat. So there wasn't really anything to model test before. So this is good. Okay, we don't want the optional. So I think this is fine. I think for our sake, it's correct that it's not optional, but it will break the Ruby LLM default UI, because when you're here and you
Right.
just like create a chat.
I think we should get rid of that and move it underneath application.
Okay. I'm sorry, just to make sure. So if we're at, we want to get rid of this UI that they've created.
Well, I actually like this UI is fine to start, I think, but it
Okay.
would be nested under an application. So you'd be starting a new chat that belongs
Got
to
it.
the application.
Okay. All right, cool. So let's start with that. So let's make it not optional. And since that would break the Ruby LLM functionality, we'll want to move it under applications. And as I like to say, but as always, one step at a time so I can review. Okay. So here we're expecting that to change. We're expecting that to change. Let's start add. This is the chat app association. All right, it's doing its thing. So it removes the optional, and it does that. And then one more thing, the thing that I had to add, I think right before. Also, I'm missing a test for. Cool. So let's catch that while we're at it. All right. So this is fine. I'm going to go ahead and commit that. And now we should see a new test come into our chat spec. I'm sorry, our app spec. Cool. Okay. And I'm just going to add that to the other commit. So here we added expect to have many chats. Expect to have many chats. Cool. All right, let's squash those two. All right. Ready to move on?
Yeah.
Okay, so while it's thinking about it, let's us look at it too. So I think we were saying before that there's a system spec.
Yeah.
The chat streaming spec. Whoops. So this one's going to have to change or it's going to break. And then let's see where it's going. So we're updating the routes. So cool. So now we have projects, apps, chats.
Not to go on a tangent, but I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent. This is one of the things that I somewhat struggle with because I really care about URLs and you want these things to be nested, but the Rails route helpers, then you need to pass in all these things into these heavily nested routes. And that can be really annoying. So I'm never quite sure, like it's enough resistance where I'm like, do I really want to nest that all?
For sure. I mean, so here's a question. Do we actually need then? I mean, like, I don't know, anytime you find resistance, I find it's a good spot to like question an assumption. So do we need a chats page at all? Like its own independent, I can have chats like I have here? Or really is that just on our apps view here where we're looking at the app view and we're going to expect a list of chats that we can click into without having it be that deep? Like, I don't know, is there anything there?
There might be. I just feel I sort of feel like we've got the building blocks to move quickly on this by keeping this page separate.
Okay.
So my instinct is to do that, but in terms of the um,
I'm thinking like we might come around on that once we're
mhm.
like a little deeper in. Okay, chat's controller views. It wants to know if it should do them. Yep. So this will be fun. While it is working on that, let's talk about our plan here. So I'm thinking we start with one chat and we have, you know, we're here, we would do new chat. Maybe we even auto create one
Yeah.
here, and we have our chat bubbles that would normally be here, and we're just starting to present them here.
Mhm.
And so we're not still hooking into any of Ready Set Go core. We're
Yeah.
we're just still talking to the LLM. It's just that we're doing it here.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's see how the changes are looking. So I think this one is fine. So let's start committing that. Move chats route apps.
How did the controller change? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so cool. So we've got set app and we no longer have an index of chats, so that makes sense.
Why do we no longer have an index of chats? It would be
It does seem like it would be helpful.
right if there's more than
Yeah,
one.
let's pause that. Let's just also review. Let me just yeah, okay. I just want to make sure it also took it out here, and it
Mhm.
did. Yeah, so
And while you're doing that, I'll just say for the live stream that what we ultimately envision is, you know, you're going to have the chat like on the left hand side, and you're going to be able to see the application that's being created on the right hand side.
so yeah, so like yeah, I think the the dashboard view for the creation is I think the part I'm most excited about because I'm imagining all these different parts here where right we've got our chats, we've got the app in an iframe, we've got logs that we can pull up, we've got the commit
Mhm.
history. Really excited for that. Okay, so cool. Now it has just moved it. So good. Back in our controller, we still have this set app and I want to look at that. So okay. So that's a problem right there.
Right.
That's just going to find any app that you pass to it and not scoped down to me.
Mhm.
So I'm of mixed minds. Actually, yeah. I think I want to interrupt it here because I think oh good, it stopped. Okay. So let's talk about some things. Um
And we've got infrastructure to be able to sort of get apps that belong to you that you have access to and that kind of thing. So that's what we're going to want to use in this.
so it's allowing any ID instead of restricting to the user. Let's focus on one test at a time. And maybe but add this new test so we don't forget. Okay. And this is interesting. This is a little bit of a personal experiment for me, Chad, because I normally run with a Claude MD and I'm not certain. I think do we have one? I forget if we have one at the top level.
No, we don't.
We don't. So like as I've been working on this, I've been going without a Cloud MD to see like
Mhm.
is it better or worse than if I have one? And I think it's worse.
You're right.
But I wanted to give it like a good solid couple of weeks to really
Mhm.
experience it and make sure like am I seeing it correctly? So
Well, and I think things progress so quickly that it's good to challenge your assumptions and to double check. And I think it is true that especially with Opus, it's just way better than it used to be at
sure.
doing things and looking at the existing code you have in the application and following the practices that you've laid out and the patterns you've laid out.
For
So there
sure.
are probably some things in our default Claude MD that we might not even need anymore.
Yeah, I totally hear you there. The interesting, and I agree. And using this as a way to test, like, well, what do we need? Like, if starting over with a blank Claude MD, and I saw that we just added to our handbook a sort of like a starting guide. So maybe we start with that one and then see based on our experience here, what does it need? The other thing I'm seeing is, so the way this is happening right now on the right with the chat with Claude is how I develop, and I have found I constantly need to like re-guide it.
Yeah.
And so it is interesting to me, and it can be simple things, right? Like, it's just to go back to something for a second. Like, if we look at the specs that I wrote for, let's look for organizations and team, right? Like, it's actually, no, wait, I went for the controller. So let's do projects controller and the apps controller. And so, like, there's a similar pattern here, right? Like, it redirects to sign in when not authenticated. Like, you want that to be consistent across your tests. You want it to follow a pattern, whatever that might be. In mine, it's like, what I like to see is like largest failure down to success and then edge cases, right? So it doesn't sign in when it's not authed. If it shows nothing when there's nothing there, it does the things we want, etc. And then for this one, which is largely the same functionality, just using a different model, I wanted to follow the same. And I found it kept being inconsistent in test descriptions, test order, test setup, like so many things. And I feel like that's one of the things we're going to want to tackle in ReadySetGo's generation is around consistency, because we could have an app that is well tested and every individual test stands on its own and the code is fine. But when you go to understand the test suite and you have, 10 different models and 10 different controllers and they're all different from each other, now you've set up the team to not have any pattern to follow.
Right.
So that's just something like I want to put out there. Like, I'm sort of saying it to remember it, what we need to focus on when we're back to the business of generating a really good app.
I think we've got a good foundation of that with the stuff we've done already. I do feel like we're on the right track in terms of what it's generating, and that was using a lot of our default Claude MD stuff.
Cool. All right, let's see where we are. So it added this test, and I want to see where it added it. Okay. So it redirects, it denies. Okay, cool. So let's put it at the right spot. Chat app project, chat app. I think this is what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, oh, that's rough. That's rough. Okay. In any case, we've at least covered this, and I don't think it has fixed it yet, but let's take also a moment, because I don't like to have too large commits. So I want to see everything it's done so far.
Yeah. And Search for IQ asks, hi streamers, do you engage with chat? There's proof we engage with chat. If you've got a question, comment, whatever, feel free to drop it in the chat and we see it. Thanks.
All right. So, actually, this might feel like the opposite of what you might want to do, but this is something I do frequently, where I'm just like, nope, you went too far. Sometimes I'll stash it, sometimes not. But in this case, I want to understand every commit. And that's just the way I work. So,
and you started a new chat there. What do you do that?
Oh no, sorry, that was a mistake. That's because I'm in the Rails repo and not the top level repo.
Okay.
Thank you. Otherwise, that would have
generally you wouldn't want to start a new chat, because then you're going to lose all the context of what it was just doing.
Yeah. No, that was a mistake on my part. Reverted some work. go at this more slowly so we can review smaller commit chunks. And it's probably going to complain. It's like, this is a giant thing. But I find it's helpful, especially as we're doing some new work here, to understand that. So it's not raising. That's the buggy flag. The test fails for different reasons. Strict loading, the authorization check. Did it? Oh. It wants to know, let's get this test to pass.
And which test are you talking about there?
This one, so where it doesn't let you, just by passing in the wrong ID, get to someone else's chat. And now, like, I've taken out a lot of the rest of its work, so it's going to have to recreate things. But I want to see that, and I want to see it more granularly.
While that runs, I feel like we have to address the thing that was put in the chat, because I said we pay attention to the chat, even though Search for IQ has asked a completely off-topic question, and that is, if we think Facebook is dropping the ball and not requiring uploaded content to be marked as if it was generated by AI, and whether that should be the law. And this, I forget which service it is, but one of the services is requiring things to be marked as AI if they are generated by AI. So I agree that basically that is a good practice of all services. It would be really nice if everything that was AI generated, not real, was obviously marked as not real. Whether that should be the law or not, I'm always reluctant. Maybe it's the United States in me that says, like, do we really need laws? Or the anarchist in me, do we really need laws, or can just everyone do the right thing? And I say that would be my preference. But if we get to the point where people can't do the right thing, then that's when lawmakers and people should advocate for their lawmakers to pass laws. Louis, anything to add?
I do not, and I'm sorry. I was half listening in and half contemplating what it did to this set app method. But I think, I think my general take is, it would be helpful to identify that. I mean, if we're talking about videos where the whole thing is AI generated, then that would be really nice to know that that was an AI generated video. Especially as we get around, like, we're not talking about, look, I created a fictional story movie, versus like, oh, look, here's this real person in real life being made to say a thing they never said. Like, that's bad. Again, don't think it's a law, but I would. That's a tough one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for the question. Oh, I see you asked another question. If I were to search for an attorney on Facebook and become victim to fraud because I was not aware it was an AI scam, should Facebook be liable? Okay, I'm going to move on after this, but this is not an AI new problem. Like, there is established precedent for, if you fall prey to an online scam, who is liable for it. And it is well settled that providers like Facebook are not liable. They are treated like a utility. And so I don't expect that to change anytime soon, because it's just the way things have been established for a long time. If you call someone on the phone and scam them over the phone company is just not liable. That's not how the law works. And so I don't expect that to change anytime. Thanks for the questions. No matter how off topic they were. That was fun. Okay, back to our app. Ready, set, go.
All right, so I'm not sure if I made this better or not, but I tried to get it to simplify its set app. So basically, we're saying for the for the current users organizations, get me a list of their projects, and then find the projects. So this will raise now if that collection doesn't have the project ID you've passed in, and then the actual app then is set to the apps under that project and finding that app ID. So this feels readable to me and a good thing. I don't like the way it sorted it. I want things to be sorted alpha, and so I'm gonna just sometimes I tell it to do that, but for the sake of this, let's move along. Okay, so then it's set chat, it's grabbing app, and then the chats, and then including tool calls because of strict loading, and then it's finding the param ID. That also seems fine. Our routes haven't changed since what we said. We added a app association to the chat, and it denies access to a user. Cool. So coming back to here. And while it's doing that, I'm just gonna do a little test on my own to see how broken is the suite in general right now. Cool. A lot. But that's fine. Those are probably
Can you scroll up a little bit? Yeah. So
yeah,
it's
that's all. Yeah. Cool. Okay. So now let's evaluate the next, I don't know, group of related test failures. Cool. So I am happy with this commit. So we're denying access to a user. We've started setting up the infrastructure here for having chats be nested under that. It is not fully it, but because there is a lot going on, and this is kind of a significant change, it's a little, I don't know, a little back and forth. And also, I don't know, just being on stream, I kind of want to keep moving forward versus taking a moment and pausing and thinking about this in deeper detail. So yeah, cool. So it called out the chats path. So
what is that API error? Is that coming from the LLM? It definitely halted.
I'm not sure if that's is that a Claude?
I've never seen that before, but it looks like an error from Claude.
I think it was. Should I remove the chats link from the header?
Yeah.
Yes. Cool. So let's start that commit. And that's going to probably fix a lot of things. So let's run. And again, I don't know if you notice here, I'm running everything but the system tests for the sake of speed, because no point in running them if everything else fails. All right. So we have still some chats things, but cool. That's an easy one to fix. Address, I don't have any tests on the menu itself, just because like that menu is really.
In another app I worked on where I had deeply nested routes, I ended up introducing a helper, because everything can be inferred from the chat, but I wanted a nice URL. So I ended up introducing like basically a defined helper and in this case it would be chat path that you just give a chat, and then it calls the deeply nested route.
Like to get all the things up. Do you want to introduce something like that here? Or are you just sort of saying, hey, something, if this gets ugly, that we can come back to?
Yeah, it's something I've done before. I was throwing it out there in terms of how you feel about it and whether we want to do that now.
I think let's see what the next set of test changes look like. So, and then, you know, we can make the call there. So, all right. So the test need updating, the get test reference route path, which used to point to that, but the route is now project index. Want to remove the get test from the chat spec. I want to look at that for a second. So, right. So this was doing a get slash. Yeah. So for one, let's do that. Let's move the root checks to projects controller spec. And then let's just start with there. So now get slash chats was its next question where it's like, where we show the index. So I'm going to start that conversation with, as for get on chats. Always hard to have a conversation while it's talking, but I try. So this is move the root tests. Again, this is really just checking our authentication at like the highest level that our root is set to something and it does the thing we want it to do. Cool. So that was just a clean move. Move. Oh, so sorry. So as for the get on slash chats, where it was saying, since root is no longer chat, I don't know.
Yeah, we did that already.
I thought it was saying a different thing, but okay. Let's just move on. Chats path, chat path, all these needs to use project apps, chat path, project app. Each will need an app and therefore project team worm set up. And for here, before it goes wild, so somewhere where it's using, yeah, let's see what we get. So we create an app, sure, and then we're just passing it in. That doesn't feel bad to me yet.
Yeah, because it also needs to pass in the project. It's just getting the project from the app. Yeah, it's fine.
All right. So we'll tell it to proceed with the group. So this is now fix, or maybe this is replace chats path. And I'm foreseeing that basically as soon, I think when we're done with this set of changes where we've moved the controller, what I'm probably going to do is stop this branch and then we'll create a new branch off of it and keep going from there just so we can separate some of the work. Because I'm guessing this is about to be a whole lot of things. Okay, so this is interesting. And yeah, so it's using that, but it's creating a team. Okay, hang on. Need to interrupt. So why are we creating teams? Just added logic. So every user has a team on create. So this is where like, nope. Whole lot of extra stuff happening. I will stage this change. That one's fine. And this is the kind of thing that I don't know, whenever I talk about how I work with AI, where I just want to be deeply embedded on every change, because you will create tests that pass, but with just like so much other setup if you're not careful. And this is exactly the kind of thing that I want to bake into ReadySetGo, with our use of reviewers to look for like each kind of these problems and to address it before it gets to the project team. And the project team then says like, and the project team is probably me, then says, wait, what did this create?
Soul?
Oh, soul is one of my favorite methods. Soul,
I've never used that before. I'm looking at the docs now.
yeah, so Soul guarantees that it finds exactly one record. So I know that a pattern I've seen in a lot of apps is, dot last or dot first,
Mhm.
when you're like, okay, it doesn't really matter. There's only one here. Soul adds an extra layer of protection, and I have found it has caught so many bugs.
Uh-huh.
So
So it'll throw an exception if multiple items are found in the collection.
right, or if no items are found.
Mhm.
And it's the multiple items that you called out that's the important thing, and it can catch things like, "Oh, when I create a user, I'm creating a team." And if here I did, user teams so before if it was, like, also, like, create a team here,
Mhm.
and I did user teams last, it would work. But
Right.
now this test has created 2 teams when it only
Right.
needed 1. So I use this aggressively.
Yeah, especially in specs. Now that I know about it, it's definitely worth using in specs.
Yeah, yeah, and you can also use it, if it's not an ownership kind of thing, like, if you were just like, um, there should be one, pick your model, if I could do
Mm.
organization.soul as well without, at the top level. It's also a great way to grab things in, when you're in the Rails console, if you know there's exactly one of the thing.
So
Okay.
this is part of active support. Uh, it was introduced like 7 years ago. Uh, that's awesome. 5 years ago.
Sweet, sweet. Yeah, I remember I wish I could remember who introduced it to me. Um, it's been a little while, and I
Well,
don't know.
this live stream was worth it. I learned one new thing today.
Excellent. Cool. So let's see. So this one is much the same. It's creating a project for the user. It's creating an app under the project. I'm seeing an opportunity here. Let's actually take that opportunity while we're at it. If it is not going on, um, let's create a with app trait on the project factory.
Mhm.
Use that. Just want to optimize things as much as we can and not have extra steps where we don't need them. Um, Tests that read cleanly are something delightful for me. The least setup I can do that doesn't obfuscate the test or hide things, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I agree. I think you don't wanna overdo it. You don't wanna create traits for one-offs.
For sure.
Um, but when you find that you're doing the same thing over and over again in multiple specs, it's definitely a good idea to introduce a trait.
Project factory. Let's commit that. And now let's come back to where we were. So put that back. That was the original thing I had staged. Create project with app on the user's team. And then app is grabbing that, and now we just replace that. So that seems fine. I see some more optimizations. I don't want to get too off this stream. That one seemed like a quick one. It
Mhm.
feels like we might be able to have like a user that we pass to the project so that we don't have to do this in
Mhm.
our test setup. But anyway, for now, this is fine. Cool. So it creates a project on the user's team. We create an app. We create 2 chats. This is just moving that up, but adding the app to it. Now updating the path, and now our expectation. So this was originally had links, and I'm not sure why we lost that. So I'm gonna ask about it. So this is chat's controller spec. Oh, need it in the other one. So we lost the href here, right? That's the line.
Mhm.
The old test used chat path, which no longer exists. I replaced with just the IDs to avoid the long nested path. That is a long nested path. But it's weaker. Yeah, okay, right. So they put it back. All right, so now let's say let's break that expectation up into, or maybe
No, it's preserving it's checking the order too by
I was
having
just
it.
thinking we could use some like some intermediate variables and then stash those, stick those into here instead of having to read the whole thing. So like what I'm hoping to see
I see
is,
what you're saying. I
yeah,
thought you
like
were saying break it up into multiple. Yeah.
nah, this one here. So cool. So the newer link is app newer, older link is app older, and our response body should match that. Beautiful. It is running the test. Cool. So that looks like something we can come back to. And now I'm going to stage the rest of this chunk because that is good. On the index, we're replacing the chat path with project app chat path. And on the chats controller, I think we maybe missed that earlier in the commit, but it's app chats order created at. Cool. Sweet. That all looks good. Let's see where we are. Linting still clean and wrong window. Let's just do it in here. Cool. So what is failing now? I see new chat path, chat messages path. Looks like more chat path though. Hopefully this next part will now go more quickly. But this is good. This is a good first step, and I'm kind of enjoying showing my Claude workflow on stream. Where I tend to work with Claude as a pairing partner and less as a go do all these things for me. A little bit maybe in opposition, like part of my mind, I'm like, what I'm doing here is a like opposite of what we're creating. But to me, I think it's important because like I'm taking mental stock of where are the points where I need to interrupt Claude and say, no, that wasn't quite right.
Right.
And then like
And then
make
we're
a
going
little
to try to
library.
bake that into the tool we create.
Yes. Okay, so what has it got going here? Cool. These look pretty clean. Project, create a project. We have our app. New chat path. Cool. So just to talk about this a little more while it's doing things, this particular line could be written two ways. It could be written as project apps sol. It could also be written as capital A app dot sol, and it would get the same one. And so whenever I'm choosing between those, to me, it's if I'm asserting ownership and it's like an important part of the test, then I'll probably do like chain it off the reference that I know connects to the user. But if I'm like, that's not what this test is about, I
Right.
might prefer just app.sol. Like all I care is get the app because what I want to see is that like this is set up not about ownership, it's just as the page render. So I might go through and replace that with app.sol. I'm not going to do it right now. Because we have a lot in our bucket, but just to talk about it a little more to the viewers. So let's continue in a separate commit since we're doing some more stuff here. So this one is all fine. And right back to the app name. That's great. And the chat path on the form. That's also fine. Okay. It's better. We see chat messages path. I see a few more chats path. Okay, so we'll just tell it to continue. Any parallelism or things you want to talk about while it's doing this
Mhm.
last part of we're close now to getting these to pass. So thinking our next step if we were
Yeah, so I like
here.
your idea of making it so that we just have a chat when, like, maybe even if there isn't already one, then it does it.
Okay.
Otherwise, it brings you to your prior chat.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, so I think that that would be the next thing we would do.
So that would be what create a chat if an app. And we could also do we just want to like an after create hook on the chat? I'm sorry,
On
an
the
after
on
create hook
the
on the
app.
app to create, yeah. That is like when you create an app, you just get a chat by default? Or do you
Yeah,
wanna do
because
that in the controller lay?
I don't think there's any LLM interaction until you do a message. Um,
Okay.
so there's probably no harm in that. I'm also thinking like 2 steps ahead because we're
Mhm, sure.
ultimately gonna have like, like a turbo page with the chat. Yeah, I think creating a chat by default for an application probably makes sense.
Okay. Cool. Well, we're almost there. So here we go. We're back to our chats controller, and we're now creating the chat off of the app instead of at the top level. Nothing else here changed, and we're doing a redirect to the correct place. I don't think we actually want I don't think we need the notice anymore. Uh, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to be helpful. So let's just take that off. Um,
When it comes to creating default objects, I do sometimes resist. You don't want to let your test suite speed drive every decision you make, but you do want to be like, is this actually necessary for every part of the application? Right. And in this case, creating a chat in a callback might not be the best place because it's not necessary for every part of the application.
yeah.
And I guess I would then skew more towards like creating it in the controller the first time if the user goes to it.
Yeah, I don't have a strong feeling around it. I think for where we are now, yeah, I think I'm kind of leaning controller.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, all right, let's see what we have. So this is a straightforward giving ourselves an app with a prompt. That was interesting actually. Oh, this is just the not authenticated one. Okay, cool. Actually, you know what? Here's an interesting question I have for you, Chad.
Mhm.
How do you like to set up tests like this? This is outside of AI, but um, this is testing. So let's just assume, like, sometimes it's just like you send it no params, and you know
Right.
that this would fail if you had signed in.
Mhm.
Do you write this test with extra information, or are you just like, yeah, if I post there, whether or not I gave it params that were valid or not, this test coverage is enough? Do you know what I'm getting at?
I do know what you're getting at. In this case, I would say I'm not sure because I also know that since what we're doing is redirecting to sign in path, that's not going to happen if like the params didn't match.
Mhm.
And so I guess I would be inclined to like leave off the params because it's just not relevant to the spec.
Yeah. So what you're advocating for then is
I don't know that I'm advocating for it. I'm just trying to capture what I would probably actually do.
you would do this, you're saying.
Right, because the params are not relevant to the spec, and if they were, and that was the failure, we
Right.
wouldn't get a redirect to sign in. We would get some other kind of exception.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. So this one is the simple swap. This one is the creates a chat and redirect. That all looks clean. Similar here. Similar here. I think we're good with all of the lines and that. All right. We'll leave this as the me running the test. I have these shortcuts for running tests, and since we're working in the Rails app, I haven't found the exact pattern that doesn't involve CDing into the Rails and then CDing back out. So I just open up a second VS Code here. All right, so we still have chat path and chat messages path. All right, almost there. I just want to take a look at that. So we have okay, this one's going to be an easy one. That's just relating to the models page. Models page. These are ours. All the
This is an
posts.
interesting thing because I don't think for the purposes of Ready Set Go, I don't think we want to have to choose the model at the user level.
Oh, like when you're starting a chat?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right there. I mean, we could. I don't know if this will all work. Like, is this okay? I have to fix it. But is we could also rip this out now or soon, like where you like see the models. All right, let's see where it's at. Still going. Let's start reviewing. So create an app, create a chat for the app. Ha, this is interesting. This is going to change then because when we oh, right. If we don't do the before create hook, then this doesn't have to change. But if we or the after create hook, with it in the controller, I think then this is fine. Project with app on the user's teams. I think all that is fine. The form now updates to use the full path, and the show returns back to the app. That's consistent with the other things we've been doing. Cool. All right. So and we'll do a quick lint check while we're here. All good.
So right now, new chat path takes in the model to use. Is that what I'm seeing?
Let's see. What was that saying? Tell me where.
I thought I saw it in the existing, like when in one of the failures here, I thought I saw that it was taking the model for new chat path, but now I don't see it. Oh, right here, new chat path.
Yeah. Okay. So that right, that's going to have to change. All right, we'll see what that looks like. And it might be a spot that maybe we do rip it out depending on. Okay, two models have new chat path and messages chat message path. Right, the start chat was a button on the chat page. Oh, actually, that's interesting. On the models page anymore. Yes, they can go. All right. So yeah, right. This was when you were on the models page and you were looking at the list of models, you could click off to the right and say, start a chat on this model. But now it doesn't have an app. So it's like, yeah. And again, since probably this models is going to go away, this is a good change. I also want to just take a quick look. Keep this up, close others. I just want to look at the models controller. Okay, that's fine. And the chats controller is what we've been working with. All right. Good.
So this controller doesn't take a model. I'm wondering, maybe you know how it chooses the default model to use.
I guess we can also remove that. Sorry, give me 1 second.
No problem.
And that too. Does it resolve now? Yes, cool. All right. So now we can see our models. Nothing else happens. So before, when were you saying like how it chooses a model when you were doing a chat?
Yeah.
There was a drop down, and it listed whatever models were defined in our model table. So, if we look at what I want to see if the schema has anything else on it. Capabilities, context window, family, metadata. Okay, nothing super leverageable here, although back if we look at our environment variables, topic API key, I thought we had defined a default model at the top level of ReadySetGo. Let me just take a look.
Oh, yeah, check.
Was it the RB file or was it?
Yeah, it's the ReadySetGo with the non.rb, just the main CLI program has config.default model equals the model, and there we're passing
I
one
see.
command line.
And we're setting the default to Sonnet. Okay. So we don't have an environment variable for this. Oh wow, our suite is passing.
And actually, we're doing it in the Rails initializer for Ruby LLM as well. We're setting default model to Claude Opus 4.6. So that's where it's happening.
Okay, cool. Nice. All right. Back here for our last commit, and then I think this is the end of this particular journey. So we have a set app. The set app is doing the same thing for the current user, finding the project, finding that. It's setting the chat based on the app reference. That's good. And redirecting to that particular app's chat. That all looks clean to me.
Mm-hmm.
And in our tests, we create a chat, we update the path, project app. I'm admittedly skimming a little bit here, but nothing is jumping out to me as egregious.
And you got two sets of eyes on it. We're both looking.
All right. I feel this is solid, so let us check now. I think now our system test will be the only thing that fails. Oh, sorry. That's my mini test shortcut. Cool. I've told it not to run system tests because that just really slows down the development loop. But now that we're here at the end, let's have it learn and see what's failing. Truly just the one. Okay, cool.
Can you load that spec?
Yeah. So this is where we go to the page, and if we create a chat, we expect that under the hood Turbo will broadcast it and it will appear on the page. So the act of creating a chat on this line shows us assistant and hello world, which is kind of fun.
Where did that hello world come from? Oh, I see. It's you can create a message. Okay, yeah, I get it. That actually might come in handy in terms of general testing strategy, the fact that when you create a message, it will be broadcast to the chat. We don't need the actual LLM to do that.
Right. All right. And now I think we'll just run we'll run both sides, integration and our system and non-system tests here. And we are clean. And we are lint happy. Cool. All right. that was a lot, but I'm glad we have that done. So now if we're just playing around in our UI, we have our models, we have our projects. We don't have slash chats anymore. And I'm going to, so let's rename this really quickly. This is what is this? Move the chats. Move chats under apps.
Mm-hmm.
We'll create a new branch from that. This one will be create new apps and Rails, or maybe this will be, I don't know. I'll think about that name. But while we're here, squash all these. All right, Chad, here we are. Mm-hmm. I believe now we are on.
So let's not get distracted by creating a chat if we don't already have one. Let's just make a new button and so that we can get to the working chat.
Okay, it's cool. So add a new chat button to this is, I don't know, apps show.
Was that app show or chats index?
Got me.
What's the URL? Oh yeah, it's app show. Okay.
All right, so this all seems fine. Back to Penguin still works. We're in here. All right. Sweet. So again, this is the built-in one. I think for now we'll just leave it, but in the like as a to-do, we'll take this out. And so the question is now. There we go.
Ta-da.
All right, so it worked. One thing, I want to try one more thing. I don't know. I like Rails. How about you? This is a dangerous question. I just wanted to see how quickly the whatever I typed would appear here, because I wasn't quite watching it when it happened before.
Well, you really stumped it now.
So the question is, did it fail, or is there an issue with the underlying things?
Can you look at the Rails log?
Yeah.
Oh, there.
Posted it twice. Yeah, let's definitely look at the Rails log here. What's happening? Okay.
Yeah, exceptions are happening.
Many
calls.
Many bad things.
I saw something about tool calls.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, the extract tool calls. Okay, cool. So we have a strict loading failure. Where is it happening? Chat response job perform. All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right. So
one thing for folks watching that we're running into is that we're much more strict than the generated code from the from Ruby LLM. So it seems like we're often running into small things like that.
So while we're here, let's take a look at it. So what's interesting is it's not.
I think it's might be in
Oh,
Access Chat. That's
maybe because it's doing chat messages and it's not also getting uh yeah. Right, sorry. I was like, "What's the name of it?" It was
mm.
actually tool calls. Okay. Um, so actually what I wanna do, um we should have a test for that. So let's add the button.
Yeah. So so the test, like we never added a test for going to this page, because
Sure.
the strict calling is relevant in the test too, right? So it would cause an exception.
I think well, I mean, only if I mean, the error was in chat response job, but this page restart the server here. Like, I think this page is fine.
Mhm.
It's in the actual job where it was dying. Were you seeing another spot where it might
No, I was saying I didn't understand why the existing system spec. Oh, you're not running the system spec. No, but it passed.
the system spec didn't call the job, it just created it directly.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Yep. You're right. That's why.
So, um, revert that a moment and let's create a failing test. So I do not like when key parts of the application fail on usage and the test suite is green. So,
Agreed. Agreed.
now
The
thinking
strict
about
loading is interesting because that's new in suspenders, right?
yeah, that suspenders started enforcing it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really it's something.
It can be very helpful and it will save you from N+1 violations, but it also generates it can generate friction.
Mhm.
Um, so cool. Let's take a look at that test that I
I also
wrote.
think you need to be careful because, like, tests for eager loading can be a lot of overhead, in terms of the amount of them that you need to write. Um, and so it's better to write a failing test not specifically for the eager loading, but the behavior that, or the error that you're getting or something like that.
How do we feel about this test?
Well,
Oh, well, first of all, it says it passed. So, okay. So there we go. Okay. The ask callback. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is. Hmm.
I think, my theory is this is passing because something is happening under the hood with tool calls
Yeah.
inside of Access chat that is creating that there was a relationship between that message and the tool call that is not being replicated in the spec. That's my guess.
So I'm wondering if what we could do here is take out take out this here, have it try and make an actual call to the LLM, have WebMock catch it, and then mock that response. I'm wondering if that would help. We can also, for the sake of where we are, maybe we just add that as a quick to do,
Mhm,
and we can come back to that. So let's go
mhm.
into here. This is a quick win. Um, for now,
Cool.
and I will add myself to that one. Sweet. All right, so that we don't get, and I'm just gonna stash this one off. All right. At minimum, though, we are back here where we now have this working. Cool. And now it's run. Great. Good. This would have been embarrassing if it said I don't like Rails.
Yeah, the AI is not going to do that.
All right. So let's just, since we did that, I don't know, again, just want to see it working now happily.
Check the logs.
I say this is that sure looks like an exception. Another sidekick message. It looks like this. It looks like the same error. Yeah. Okay. So, oh, did I not? Oh, ha!
Did you stash it away without the
stashed both
actual
of it.
change?
Yeah, that's right. Because all right, that was. Let me see. Did I leave it there? Yeah. Okay. I took because we wanted to see the failing test, so we undid this part. So if we put it back. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Okay. Now.
You shut down the server.
Oh,
Wow.
this is cool.
Expensive.
Okay. So it's actually seeing that it is I'm loving this. We might be going in circles. We'll just give it some peace. And mostly I just want to know that it's like once we've got that resolved. All right. Our UI is working. We have a chat. So now our next goal is really to start then hooking it into the core script. So we could start taking steps. I know we're near the end of time.
Yeah.
But we could either set up a plan, we could try and bring in like what's the simplest lift. We could talk about like let's look at our project structure here. Where do you want to go?
So if you go over to the ReadySetGo.rb.
Yeah, let's close. Yeah, that's fine. We're gonna get back to that one.
So some things to note about where we're headed, I think, is that this ReadySetGo class knows it creates the project's the directory where the application is generated,
Right.
and then it knows an app path and projects path. We now have models in the Rails app that map to a lot of these things, and so it's actually nice because then if you go over to the not review gate,
it's like the main script.
Yeah, the main script. And oh, actually, it's not. It's in tool.rb, I think. Yeah. So like all of the tools they need to like say within the app. And the LLM is actually like passing in the app name all the time to every tool call that it makes.
Right. Okay.
I think we don't need to do that anymore because chat will have a relationship to the application. And so the application can just know all about where it lives and what it does, and all the tools can do that because they're all just happening on the chat for that application. So I think this is actually going to like be nice, and it's going to clean up the need to do that in the same way.
Yeah. This actually brings up a question for me as I've been like thinking about this in the back of my head this past week. So like right now, the structure that we have was right when you run this script, then it would create a projects folder here at the top level, and
Mhm.
then if our to-do list app would be under /project/to-do list. Now, um, w- are we going to store this at the, I guess, top level of the Rails app? Like underneath the Rails app, we're going to have um, a projects folder here that we then put
Yes,
each
I think
Rails
we
app
should do
in.
that for now, because ultimately we're going to get to the point where when you generate an application, it's actually like in running in a container. Um, because if we envision like in the future when this is a web service that anybody can use, we don't necessarily want all the applications to be just running alongside of each other.
Right.
And so for now, we can continue to sort of just short circuit that
Okay.
by having the projects live inside of here.
All right. So we'll have a projects folder. It'll want a .keep file, and then I know one of our tasks is also like you don't want to be running this and not have it eventually get pushed up to GitHub. So that's going to be a later step, though, where
Mhm.
I imagine that you'll be on your projects page and looking at the app, and then like this will have like link to GitHub or like clone down from GitHub, so that if you've created the penguin sorter, I can pull down the code on my machine and then have that get pulled down into projects,
Mhm.
uh, penguin sorter, etc. That does also beg the question of like, are these projects sorted? Like, is this directory structure sorted by team and all, or is it just 20 things live here and we just rely on the UI to guide us to different teams' work?
I think we just do that.
That
Yeah.
cool. Okay. And then did I have any other questions around this? Anything you're wondering about, worried about, not sure how we'll tackle for the next step of actually having like multiple of projects running?
No, I think my plan for today is to grab some lunch
A good
and
plan.
then come back to this
Okay.
and um, start moving in the Ready Set Go top level stuff into app and the tool calls, and like, but move over the specs first, because I think the specs will be like this is
Yeah.
exercising the tool
Yeah.
in the
All
right way.
the yeah. Okay.
And we may then at the end of that process just move up the Rails directory to be in the root.
I think that would be nice. It'll simplify a lot of just the small friction points of working with the dual structure. And I thought that was going to be a much later on thing, but I'm kind of excited to think that we might actually be there now.
Mhm.
Cool.
Okay,
Great.
and then for next week, I think so if we're able to do that,
Mhm.
and we make progress on that, let's think about what next week's stream might be. Next week's stream might be UI focused and getting the UI to be the way that we want, and then with the inline iframe uh, hot reloading on the right hand side.
Yeah, and just for our viewers that weren't here last week, let me grab this up just to show like the critical paths that we have envisioned here. Um, we have a couple different ones, but this top one is for us right now as we're working on it. We're working on Ready, Set, Go. What are our needs? We're going to start, we're going to generate an app. And like our starting point was, are you happy with the code quality? Great. Most likely though, no. So we want to like reiterate it. And so the things we're going to want in that UI is be able to see the steps that it's taking without, clicking through a million windows, understand where it went wrong, go through a loop of iterate and rerun and iterate and rerun, which could be like, is it destroying the app all the way down to nothing and starting over? Is it trying to fix it? This will be an interesting thing. And then here now where we start, let's say, adding a new reviewer or modifying a prompt to try and mitigate that. So this next step, yeah, as we work on the UI, I think it's going to all be about visibility and what is it doing?
Yeah.
So that we can quickly figure out where did it go wrong. And then later it's like this process is more about how do we give it more context at the beginning as a consultant using this to build an app? How do we give it documents? How do we give it recordings, screenshots, whatever all that might be? And then, the process of then sharing that with users. So this is later, and this is where we are now.
Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for watching. We will be back next week. And in the meantime, we're going to continue to make progress on ReadySetGo. So thanks for checking in with us. As always, if you are looking for a team that can help you create something new or improve an existing app, you can always get in touch with Thoughtbot. So you can find us at thoughtbot.com. Thanks so much for watching, Lewis. Thanks again. And I will see you next week.
Bye, all.